Okay, we're here with Brian today. Brian drove a long ways. In fact, he drove all night long to get here. So Brian, if you will, show us what you got under the cap there. It's got a lot of hair still, right? So what's happening with Brian is he's just losing some hair along this frontal recession area. He still has the frontal forelock, but behind the frontal forelock, as you may be able to see, he's really starting to open up here. So he can hide that with a hat or kind of combing this up. But as you can see, these are the areas that we're going to focus our attention on today. And then of course, these areas of recession.
So I think I started to notice the hair loss around about 25, 26 years old. Oddly enough, my hairdresser was the first one that brought it up to me. When she brought it up, I thought she was kind of just giving me crap a little bit, to be honest. And then some other people started to notice, and when you're already self-conscious about something and people continue to bring it up, it only makes that kind of worse. When I look in the mirror, I generally see a project, would be the way I would say, because if I'm going to do something with my hair, I have to wear it a certain way where it basically hides the fact that the spots that are thinning don't have the density as the spots that I'm pulling over the top of that. I think people do notice. You know, for example, if somebody will come into my office and if they're standing and I'm sitting at my chair and I kind of turn and they're over my shoulder, and you almost wish they weren't standing there. That shouldn't even have a spot in my mind in a moment like that, and yet it does because of the thinning. I feel very encouraged and excited. I felt really good about the procedure itself and the level of expertise that was shown. The distance didn't play a factor then, because if you're going to work with somebody, you want to work with the best and make sure that it's done and it's done right. In my research with which procedure I wanted to choose, initially it was led by FUE, which I believe is the follicular unit extraction. I have a little bit curlier hair type, and so to try to follow that down and get the follicle out might be a little bit more difficult, because even the most skilled surgeon can see what it's doing above the scalp, but below the scalp you can't. And so you may end up running the risk of damaging that follicle when you're trying to transplant that. Given the type of hair loss that I have, I didn't think that the maximum amount of follicles that they could move with FUE was going to give me the results that I needed to see. So MUE definitely seemed to be the better option. It was also more cost effective, in hopes of not having to do the procedure 2 or 3 times. This is going to be the best way for me to go and to be able to move the amount of follicles that's going to make a difference for the type of hair loss that I have. While you won't be the only bald man walking the surface of the earth, if you had the opportunity to do something about it, and based on every testimonial I've ever read or heard, generally the feedback is, I wish I had done this sooner. It would be nice to have the full coverage again and be able to go back to doing some of the other activities that I enjoy, water sports, whatever, without having to worry about what does my hair look like, you know? And is somebody going to make an off-the-cuff comment about it where it's like, I already know that and you know it, why do you have to bring it up, right? So for me, more than anything, more than the style or just any of that, kind of just having that out of my frame of mind and just be able to live my life, live in the moment, and just kind of enjoy the things that I'm doing. I definitely have somebody that's very special to me in my life. She's a very, very attractive person. I'd certainly like to be the person on her arm who matches her, and I think I can do that a little bit more easily with hair as opposed to without.
So Brian, how do you feel? It's been not quite 24 hours since your procedure, and how do you feel today?
Today I feel really good. Last night, getting home, a little uncomfortable, just trying to find a comfortable spot to sleep. Woke up this morning feeling a heck of a lot better than I went into my sleep pattern last night.
If somebody asked you if they should do this, or what kind of advice might you give someone?
Undoubtedly, I'd tell them, pull the trigger, do it for yourself. I don't think you'll regret it. So that short-term discomfort, I don't even want to call it pain. It was just discomfort, and to wake up today where I am, yeah, without a doubt.
You have a relative that had the procedure done with us, but John didn't tell you he had his procedure.
Right.
So walk us through that.
He didn't reveal it to me, and I didn't know yet at that point.
When you first saw him on the website, did you go like, wait, what? Uncle John did this?
Yeah.
He didn't tell me.
Yeah. Wait a minute, that guy kind of looks like, well, that's because it is. It's not though. So, yeah, that definitely just, in terms of freeing your mind up, you're like, okay, this is somebody who clearly has an inside track on this.
I reminded him that we didn't say anything about the fact that he was a patient, and you hadn't asked, and I made sure the whole staff was real quiet about it. So when you got back to John's place, because you stayed with him, how did that come up? Did you say, hey, I know you did it? Or
Yeah,
did you
no,
sort of-
it's a great question. I got home and we were just trying to get me something to eat, and I kind of turned over and I said, hey, I said, your hair looks really great. And at that moment he kind of had that sly smile where he's like, he knew that I knew. And he's like, well, I wonder why. And obviously the staff here did a great job of also keeping it confidential, so kudos to you guys.
Who's gonna have the best video?
Wow. Personality-wise, I'm up against a pretty good match there, but I think age is going to play a factor here. And I got blessed with very, very thick, luscious beard, and I'm going to win out on this. So I'm gonna make sure that I do a little better job than he does.
So I haven't looked at the final numbers, but it was pretty extraordinary. We're thinking 8,000, 8,500 hairs, maybe more. I don't know quite yet, but
The estimate that I received was around 6,000, and that's what we had discussed. So for you guys to go, excuse me, above and beyond for me like that, I genuinely appreciate it. I think it speaks volumes to how just fundamentally involved you guys are with the process and how you genuinely want to see somebody succeed with this. For you guys to take it the extra level and say, hey, you know what, we've got a really good opportunity here given the donor area. It just speaks volumes about the quality of the work and how you genuinely want to see the patient succeed. So, no, that means a lot to me. I genuinely mean that.
I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Let me get this thing off of your head. Well, raise it. I think they're needing this room, so. All right.
Gone so far above and beyond for me that I want to be.
I just want the best possible result.
Yeah.